In this video, I'm going to show you 3 of my favorite groin pain treatments. Hey everyone, I'm Sebastian at Performance Place Sports Care, part of the locally world famous chiropractors in Costa Mesa, California. Groin pain I'm talking about right here is right into the crease, just like so. Sometimes people will be diagnosed with high adductor strains, hip impingement, labral tears. By the way, labral tears typically have painful clicking and popping, while other people have been told they have sports hernias and so on. Now, I'm going to cover 3 exercises that I think are very helpful in regards to the treatment of various different types of diagnosis we see at Performance Place. At any point, if you want more information about what type of hip or groin pain you have, we have a video coming up into the corner which is going to help you figure some of that out. We provide a bigger resource so you can learn off to the side in a more thorough setting. A good process to think about when you go through groin pain treatment is you need to do 3 things in the beginning. Number 1 is you have to reduce the pain. Number 2 is you have to create core stability or pelvic stability. Number 3 is you have to grease up the hip. And so the exercises I'm going to show you today are in that format here, but there's various different exercises we can use for this. These are just the 3 I like to use for most people. Now the first thing that works really well for people is called dermal traction, which is created by Philip Snell and Justin Dean, but other people call it skin pulling. And so right into the region here, think of this as a V crease here. We're going to grab regions of the skin which can be very sensitive on people, and a lot of the videos I've done in the past, people said, my skin is too tight, I can't pull it. Yeah, everybody's different. And I don't have a lot of skin to pull here either, and it is pretty sensitive. And sensitivity is okay, while shooting pain when you're doing it is not. And so you can work this skin rolling all the way up and all the way down right into here, and even into the crease right there. I've met a lot of people as well that when they do this, they say, it was so sensitive, I just didn't do it myself. That's okay too. A lot of times people will need a provider to do skin pulling on them or dermal traction on them because it's just so painful and tender to do that it's hard to do. Now, a lot of times when people do simple things like skin pulling or dermal traction into the region for a minute or so, surprisingly their pain is a lot less. Which it's interesting how it potentially works, but I'm not going to cover it in this video, okay? So that's number 1, is reduce the sensitivity in the region by skin pulling. The second thing is we're going to create some core support. Most people with groin pain will fare pretty well with something like a hard-style plank. We've done some of these in our other videos on YouTube as well, but in particular to groin pain, I like to coach it in a specific way. A lot of times we show different exercises or a single exercise for different conditions, but they're coached in a very different way. Now the first thing you got to do when you have groin pain, to treat it effectively with something like a hard plank, you need to make sure that your core is actually full of air. And so normally laying in this position here to start, and then breathing into the floor, in and out, and you're breathing through right in this section right into here. You'll be face down, I just won't in this video. You'll notice that the rise and fall of your spine, that's kind of what you want to feel at first. You may notice this is hard to accomplish if you go up on your elbows like here. And it's mainly because the rib cage is open and the pelvis is anteriorly tilted or forward tilted. So when you're down in this position next, what you want to try to do is if you feel your rib cage right here and you feel the top of your pelvis, on both sides you want to see if you can bring those 2 points together. Like so. I'll demonstrate again. So this is slackened and this is bringing those 4 points together. Now some of you will notice that your butt cheeks are clenched right now, like they're trying to hold a quarter. Try to hold that position without actually clenching your cheeks. Believe it or not, it is possible. It's hard for a lot of people to do, which is why they're having the problem that they're having. And so this is breaking a pattern a little bit. It's a movement compensation that we have to break first before we challenge the exercise, okay? So no matter what happens in this plank, this has to stay. If it doesn't stay, this plank will actually increase your symptoms, okay? So from that position and keeping those points together, breathe into the belly, and then act like someone's going to slide a clipboard underneath your belly. And notice I'm not getting too high. It's because it's hard. It's going to be hard for a lot of people. I don't need you up into a full plank. I need you into the highest thing that you can still do well while keeping the composure of those 4 points. So 4 points together. Push, allow someone to slide a clipboard under your body. Breathe deep. And return. And I'm going to do one more time. 4 points together. Clipboard. Breathe into the kidneys. And relax. So that's step 2, is creating stabilization. The reason being is because if you don't have good stabilization of your core and pelvis, then you're never going to get good movement and greased upness of the hip. If you get the hip to work well, the groin pain will typically stop. Okay. Now the last thing we can do with greasing up the hip is just putting it through a little bit of range of motion. Now if you look from the side here, this is going to be my symptomatic hip. The first thing you got to realize is that this will not be, the same slot will not be the same for everybody. And so I'm going to lean a little bit forward, leaning as if my spine is duct taped in a single position, not rounding. Okay. I'm going to lean forward, and you should feel a little stretch on your butt cheek here. If you feel pain in the front, you need to change the slot. So this is one slot, this is another slot, and this is another slot. Everybody's going to be a little bit different. I'll demonstrate from the front. Slot 1, slot 2, slot 3. Choose one slot. When you find that slot, explore the range. It's like you're looking over a cliff, and return. Explore the range. Come on back. Eventually, you'll get to the point where you find the range pretty good. At that point, breathe into those points like into the kidneys. Hold the position and return. One more time. Look over the cliff, breathe into the kidneys, and return. Now you might wonder how often to use these things. Well, you can do these exercises daily. And we have people do this version of their home treatment daily quite often, because we all know that going into an office is in a facility to have tissue work and mobilization and coach is all really good. But the problem is if those are helpful, why not increase the dosage of them? Increase the amount of time that you're doing them so you feel better longer. And so choosing some of these exercises to do on a daily basis, it would only take about 10 minutes or so to do. Normally that works better than just only doing them once a week. And you should pick exercises that are generally challenging like this. So these are 3 exercises that we like to use for groin pain treatment. And that goes for things like sports hernias, hip impingement, and adductor strains, and so on. If you're looking for one-on-one help, we can help you. We see people virtually for this and in person. And typically coaching exercise like this on video or one-on-one through a Zoom is really not that hard. If you have a keen eye and you know what you're looking for, it's very easy to coach people through movement. And we have to break some corrupt movement patterns to make it so the groin does not get overloaded. So if you guys are looking for help, our link is in the description below.